The film commences by showcasing the planet Nohir, where the Guardians of the Galaxy have established their headquarters. Meanwhile, Rocket, a sardonic raccoon, stands near the window in his room. Suddenly, a formidable being from another galaxy, Adam Warlock, abruptly enters the room and launches an attack on Rocket, who narrowly evades the assault. The other Guardians hear the commotion and hasten to assist Rocket. Nebula, a cybernetic warrior, arrives first. She has upgraded herself with advanced technology that enhances her strength. Nebula attempts to engage Adam Warlock in combat, but he proves too overpowering. He effortlessly deflects her attack and hurls her aside, pinning her down. The rest of the Guardians join the fray, but they prove no match for Adam Warlock. He withstands their blows and even hurls them about. He appears invincible. Rocket seizes his firearm and endeavors to shoot Adam Warlock, but Adam Warlock strikes him forcefully. Rocket collapses to the ground, wounded. Nebula, displaying unwavering determination, rises and constructs a sword using her hand. She thrusts it into Adam Warlock from the rear, causing him to groan in pain and regain his senses. Adam Warlock, sensing the impending assault from the Guardians, rapidly departs Nohir. Peter and his companions swiftly attend to Rocket, who lies injured. They attach a curative device to heal his injuries. However, as they activate the device, Rocket begins to convulse, suggesting that it might be causing harm. Witnessing this distressing situation, Nebula rushes over and instructs Peter to deactivate the device. She conducts a thorough examination of Rocket's body and informs them that he harbors multiple concealed devices, one of which is linked to his heart. Attempting to heal Rocket without first removing this device may result in the loss of his life. The Guardians make every effort to rescue Rocket, even as he remains unconscious, teetering on the brink between life and death. Rocket experiences a vivid flashback of his past, reflecting on his origins. He recalls being a small raccoon, a mere animal, confined in a cage with his prey. However, his life took a dramatic turn when the enigmatic figure known as the High Evolutionary intervened. The High Evolutionary conducted experiments on Rocket, rendering him smarter and stronger than his former self. Once the experiment concluded, Rocket found himself imprisoned in yet another cell. In this bleak situation, Rocket formed a close bond with 3 of these fellow captives. Meanwhile, Nebula conducts an examination of Rocket's body and manages to pinpoint the origin of the concealed devices within him. The group speculates that by traveling to the place where these devices were created, they might be able to heal Rocket. They decide to embark on this journey to another planet called Orgocorp. Peter assembles his team for the mission, while leaving 2 friends behind to safeguard Nohir. Concurrently, the High Evolutionary, accompanied by Adam Warlock and his mother, comes into focus. Adam Warlock's mother informs the High Evolutionary that her son is still young and hence failed to capture Rocket. This revelation triggers the High Evolutionary's anger, leading him to strike Adam Warlock forcefully and make threats against his mother. He demands that Rocket be brought to him at any cost, even issuing a dire ultimatum. He endeavors to impose his own definition of perfection upon the planets he visits, along with the animals and creatures that inhabit them. On one occasion, he journeyed to Earth. He was so captivated by Earth that he resolved to create a planet mirroring its likeness, a world that would replicate the appearance and ambience of Earth itself. They named this new planet Counter-Earth. The Guardians set course for Orgocorp aboard their ship. Just before entering Orgocorp, they were joined by a group of individuals, one of whom was Gamora. These newcomers explained that Nebula had invited them and promised a reward for their assistance. They came to support the Guardians in their mission. Meanwhile, Rocket remains unconscious in his flashbacks. In the flashbacks, we discover that Rocket was considered the most exceptional and successful experiment of the High Evolutionary. His brain functioned at an astonishing speed compared to others. The High Evolutionary tested Rocket's brain, realizing that Rocket was exceptionally intelligent and clever. He showed Rocket counter-Earth and introduced him to a flying rocket, which piqued Rocket's curiosity. The High Evolutionary conducted further tests, taking Rocket to a laboratory. Confused by the aggression that resulted from his experiments, the High Evolutionary sought Rocket's insight. In response, Rocket examined the chamber machine and suggested that it altered a chemical in the subject's brains, leading to their aggression. Rocket proposed that by preventing this chemical change, the subjects could be made calm as intended. The High Evolutionary was delighted and impressed by Rocket's insight. He believed the experiment was a success and expressed his desire to use Rocket's exceptional brain for his ongoing projects. He acknowledged Rocket's exceptional intelligence and cleverness. Rocket's intellect surpassed even that of the High Evolutionary himself. He questioned how a small animal could outsmart him. In his anger and jealousy, he ordered his colleagues to execute Rocket the next morning, intending to extract Rocket's brain to unravel the secrets of his exceptional creativity. Rocket's friends were deemed useless and were marked for death as well. Rocket devised a plan to escape by fashioning a makeshift key. As he managed to unlock his cell, the High Evolutionary arrived and fatally shot one of Rocket's friends, revealing that he had anticipated Rocket's escape attempt and was determined to prevent it. He threatened to kill Rocket's remaining friends and immediately extract Rocket's brain, without waiting until morning. Overcome with sadness and anger at the loss of his friend, Rocket lashed out at the High Evolutionary, violently disfiguring him and managing to escape. He fled the scene and boarded a nearby spaceship, ultimately eluding the clutches of the High Evolutionary. On a different front, the Guardians, accompanied by Gamora, reached the planet Orgocorp. After reaching the central area, they discovered a file related to the rocket and retrieved it. The Guardians then examined the contents, revealing the harrowing story of Rocket, mirroring the events portrayed in Rocket Raccoon's flashbacks. The Guardians were appalled by the atrocities committed by the High Evolutionary against Rocket. While watching the video, Nebula was overwhelmed with sympathy for Rocket, believing that nobody had endured such intense suffering. Subsequently, they discovered that the device implanted in Rocket's heart, preventing his healing, could actually be removed. The issue was that the High Evolutionary team had deleted the necessary code from the Rocket file. However, the Guardians managed to identify the individual responsible for the code deletion through the file. With this information in hand, the Guardians resolved to locate that person, retrieve the missing code, and save Rocket's life. But Gamora had reservations about this plan. She cautioned that the individual they needed was in close proximity to the High Evolutionary at that very moment. She firmly believed that attempting to reach that person would likely lead to their demise. Regretfully, she conveyed that she couldn't assist them and instead sent her location to a friend, instructing them to pick her up soon. Unknown to the Guardians, Gamora's friend had been captured by Adam Warlock and his mother in Orgocorp. When Gamora shared her location, it inadvertently alerted them to her whereabouts, leading them to pursue the Guardians. Meanwhile, the High Evolutionary revealed that he was aware of the Guardians' plan. He threatened to eliminate them all and reclaim Rocket, whom he considered his subject. He boasted that he had orchestrated their arrival with his cunning scheme. Following this, he instructed his associates to retrieve Rocket from the Guardian's spaceship outside. The High Evolutionary boarded his own ship and ordered his crew to obliterate the planet after his departure. Complying with his command, his crew piloted their vessels and initiated a barrage, causing explosions and devastation throughout the planet. Peter and Groot witnessed this unfolding catastrophe and engaged the High Evolutionary forces in combat. They used their potent weaponry to fend off their attackers and apprehended the individual possessing the code required to save Rocket. The remaining members of the Guardians observed the planet's destruction and the High Evolutionarist's exit in his ship. Believing that Peter and Groot were still aboard the spaceship, they rushed to rescue them, heading directly to Rocket in their own spacecraft. Upon reaching Rocket, they input the code, causing the device near his heart to deactivate. Peter tended to Rocket's injuries, and his condition improved significantly. They resolved not to leave them behind and decided to liberate all the captive beings, taking them along. Peter and his companions proceeded to the High Evolutionarist vessel in a bid to rescue the other Guardians. A fierce battle ensued, pitting the High Evolutionary, his followers, and the Guardians of the Galaxy against each other. The Guardians liberated all the individuals, animals, and creatures held on the High Evolutionarist ship. They transported them to Nohir, joining them on the journey. However, the dog's power became overwhelming, causing the device to malfunction. This resulted in Nohir and the High Evolutionarist spaceship drifting apart. Everyone else reached Nohir safely, but Peter found himself stranded on the ship. In a state of panic, Peter attempted to leap towards the planet but missed, leaving him floating in the cold vacuum of space, gasping for air, with the fear of impending death. At that critical moment, Adam Warlock appeared and rescued him, bringing him to Nohir and saving his life. The Guardians resolved to create a new world for all the people, creatures, and animals they had encountered, aiming to offer them a better life and freedom. After a long period of service, Peter decided to take a well-deserved break from his duties. Gamora and the rest of the team also chose to follow their own individual aspirations and dreams. In the wake of this decision, Rocket forged a fresh alliance with the survivors. This infectious joy quickly spread through the entire team, who relished their life and basked in the warmth of their newfound happiness.